So let's look and see what I'm wearing. What am I wearing? Well, one of the fun things that I am doing is that I love Nunatak. Do you guys like Nunatak? I love Nunatak. Nunatak is so much fun. On dealing frost damage, create a 6-meter area under the target for 6 seconds, dealing 323 frost damage to enemies every second, and applying 40% snare for 4 seconds. Enemies damaged 4 times become immobilized and afflicted with major brittle for 4 seconds, causing the targets to take 20% increased crit damage. The effect can also occur once every 15 seconds and scales off of the higher of your weapon or spell damage. That's right, ice is nice. How's it feel to be frozen? I love it. The white stripes are coming back. I know, I always say white stripes. It's white streaks in there. So we've got that, but don't fear. We also still in this build have Oakensoul, because you might be thinking, okay, usually in my builds I have just the helm so that we can fit in the Oakensoul. But this one we're going with 2 sets. One of the sets happens to be the monster set. So we've got Nunatak in there, which comes out of IC, comes out of the city over there. So you can get that. You can either defeat, Nunatak, one of the big bosses going around, to get it, or you can save up some keys and go over and open it up and get it that way. So you can go and do that. And the cellar down in the bases, one of the cellar has boxes for these to get a chance for the shoulders. So it's in a memorial district. Thank you so much. All right. The other big one that we have paired with it is Ice Furnace. Ice Furnace, a heavy build. It's a heavy set. Let's see, what do I have the other ones in? I have it in medium and medium. So we've got medium and heavy for our setup in here. And so what's the big deal with Ice Furnace? It's a heavy set, adds to our weapon damage and stuff. But when you deal frost damage, you deal an additional flame damage to all enemies within 8 meters around the initial target. This effect can occur once every 1 second and scales off the higher of your weapon and spell damage. Because remember, the idea with this build, because we are PvEers going into a PvP world, this is to make it so that we, A, have a little fun, B, do not get, ganked really quick or one-shot really quick. We've got a little bit of staying power. We've got an ability so that we're not going to go down too quickly so that we have fun. Because that's the one thing for us. If you're a PvEer and you're going in to PvP and you got the PvP pros, they know what they're doing, and you just want to be able to survive a little bit so you don't feel like you just get in the PvP one shot, have to, revive, do it again, one shot. You don't want that. That's no fun. So that's what this is built around. Now, you can do a little bit of damage. I have taken out a few people, but I've also had, I've had like 3 people, go after me, and I've stayed around for at least like 10, 15 seconds, and I'm like, hey, that was really good for me. Or enough to be around so that I could have some friendos and PvP come over and help me out. So really good. So I have that all set up. And then to round out the build, I have just some stuff of the Trainee. Trainee gives you a health and Magicka. I've got 2 pieces of those. So we've got the necklace of the Trainee and the ring of the Trainee in there. As far as what do I have for traits on the helm, chest, actually, let's see. What do I have? I've got impenetrable. I think, which ones do I have that are just reinforced? Impenetrable. Actually, I just have the chest reinforced. Everything else is impenetrable. So impenetrable increases your crit resistance. And just the chest piece reinforced to give us a little bit more of a armor value. The chest piece, yeah. So there we go. And I have the Staff of Frostbite in there. It's actually the same one that I use for my PvE stuff. It is imprecise, and it uses the weapon damage enchant. So that's what we've got set up there. All right. So, we're going to be all into Magicka, 64 into Magicka for everything. We are going to be using a different boon, a different Mundus Stone. We're using the Boon of the Atronach to give us more Magicka recovery. the big thing that you find when you start doing PvP stuff is that you get a little bit flustered and you're hitting all your buttons and stuff. You run out of resources very quickly. So even though it might lower our overall DPS in here, we want things that are going to give our recovery back very quickly. And we're going to be doing heavy attacks as well to kind of help ourselves out. So having the Atronach there instead of the Thief is going to work in our favor for that. All right. What do we have for skills in here? We've changed things up a little bit. Look at this. I got Deceptive Predator. What's that? You're like, oh my gosh. It's actually in the Animal Companions, and it's the other morph that usually people will take. The thing with this one is that you gain the Spear of Agility, you gain Major Expedition for 6 seconds, increasing my movement speed so I can run around a lot faster, gain immunity to snares, and immobilization for 4 seconds. So if you're going into a battle or stuff like that, you hit that on, you start running around, nobody's going to be able to snare you for a little bit. And then while slotted, just as a passive, you get Minor Evasion, reducing damage from area attacks. All that stuff, like when you're trying to get through a door, and you really should be going through that door because there's a whole lot of AoE on the ground. That's going to help you out. All right. Then we have our Screaming Cliff Racer is back. We've talked about that before. That's going to do a lot of good damage for us and give us some healing back to us. Leeching Vines. This is going to get us some healing. Because look at what this does. Grow vines to embrace the lowest health ally in front of you for 10 seconds, including yourself. The vines, let's see, what does it say? The vines heal the target for so much health each time they take damage. And so someone's wailing on you, you're like, fine, you're just healing me at this point. They also have applied minor life steal to enemies that damage the target for 10 seconds, healing you and your allies for a certain amount of health for every 1 second that the damaging that enemy. So you've got that's going to help you out. So you've got an attack with a Screaming, with the passives, going to give you some health back. Leeching Vine is going to give you some health back. Then look at this one, Arctic Blast. We know the Arctic Blast. That gives us healing and does damage in an AoE. We love that one. And it's a Frost ability. All right, so that's going to queue off our Frost ability stuff. I love it. Oh, and the other thing that queues off our Frost is that we got a Frost Staff, of course, in there. And then for us, we have our Flare, which I took the morph of it just so it looked a little bit differently. But you don't have to take the morph. We want that slotted major protection, reducing your damage by 10%. But it also kind of helps in PvP because it shows, enemies that are revealing stealth enemies. So, so if you're running around, and people are like, oh, they're just stealthy. You're like, ooh, I can help. I can throw that down. Boom. And try to reveal somebody. So, and if they're revealed, they're stunned. So, and then we've got our bear. We've got Barry. Now, Barry is like I tell you, we've changed to the Eternal Guardian on this one. Basically, Barry's just going to come back to life. You are not going to have to res. So Barry's just going to keep going at him and keep going at him and keep going at him and not stopping. Going to be absolutely amazing. Go, Barry, go. So I love it. And Barry's got the Eye of the Tiger, or the Eye of the Bear. If you notice, he looks a little different because he's got glowing eyes. Yeah. So Barry's got the bloodlust. He wants to go take some people out in there. So yeah. So you're using your light and heavy attacks there, which are going to trigger certain things like Nunatak because it's a Frost Staff. Your Arctic Blast is going to trigger some stuff as well. You're going to have your wings around you, give you some of that movement, get you out of situations so you can run through stuff. You're going to have your vines on it, so if people go after you. So between having vines and then putting up the heal around you, it's going to be tough to take you down. Like I said, you're going to be stacked, within here. And again, plus having that reduction in damage by 10%. So again, I said this earlier, it's all about giving us a little bit of staying power so that we don't have to worry about that too much. So, all right, champion points next. What's different in those? Let's take a peek. Green, you can go into in the past I said green, you can go into anything. But there are some benefits in here for PvP. The Gifted Rider increases your mount speed. All right, by 10%. Get you faster when riding around in Cyrodiil. Master Gatherer, we're fine. Steed's Blessing, increase your out of combat movement speed. So just getting around, moving around, everything's going to be faster. Rationer, that's just so that your any food and drink lasts a little longer. So your 2 that you're doing for PvP, the Gifted Rider, Steed's Blessing. You can swap out whatever you want. Then for our blue, we're going to be doing Wrathful Strikes. Focused Mending is different. Increase our healing done with single target. So that's going to heal us up more with our Vines and with our Arctic Blast. And, of course, with our Bird. Weapons extra. Increase the damage done with light and heavy attacks. That light and heavy attack is damage. You can't, it's going to be great. You can't deny that. It's going to be, that little bit here, there, just to take out an enemy. It's going to work great. And then Exploiter. One of the great thing about the having the Bird of Prey in there is that it sets enemies off balance, and you can use that Exploiter to do more damage. It's going to be phenomenal. Then on our red side, we're going to do Survival Instincts. When afflicted by a status effect, all right, your core combat skills cost less. So if you get some status effects, if people put some debuffs on you, you're going to be able to do more things. Sustained by Suffering increases your health, Magicka, and stamina recovery. We talked about that recovery bonus. We want that. Pain's Refuge reduces the damage taken for every 2 negative effects that get put on you. So that's going to be good, up to 20%. And then Celerity. We're going to be moving around. We love it. Moving around with a lot of speed. So a lot of speed, a lot of damage reduction to all of this stuff. It's going to be fantastic. Oh, and then the other thing, what was my thing with the... I believe it was with... Make sure for passives that you take a lot of these... Yeah, a lot of these passives that we normally wouldn't take in here. Take the second level of Continuous Attack there for your riding skills, for your Major Gallop, because it also gives you some extra recovery. Reach in here increases the range of your long-range abilities, so that's going to go 5 meters longer, which is great. Combat Frenzy, you gain 20 ultimate after killing an enemy, so that's going to go a lot better. And then the same thing with the support. Take all the support ones, increases your match and recovery 10% for your support ability slotted. We've got one with the Blinding Flare. Increase your healing done by 20% when you're near a keep. That's going to help out. And then reduce the time that it takes to resurrect a player. That's going to help out. So, we usually don't take those passes because we're not in PvP. We're in PvP, so that's going to work. All right. So we did the gear. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. We did our food. Our food that we want when we do this and stuff like that. We want to take the Jewels of Misrule. All right? Jewels of Misrule. Dun, 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 dun. I'm still using the tripods, by the way, for that. Jewel of Misrule increased stamina, Magicka, recovery by 357 and max health. So it gives us our max health up, which is what we want, but instead of giving us more points into stamina Magicka, it gives it to the recovery. Because we want to do anything that we can to keep up all of our resources. That's kind of been a theme as we've been going along here. So yeah, so we're definitely going to want that as we go into PvP. So that'll be our food. Talked about all the passives, all our racial passives, take all that stuff, all the passive here. For armor, because we're rocking medium and heavy, make sure that you have all of those in there if you can. We talked about the skills, all of us in here. Again, we are kind of a role player within this. If you get someone who is a pro PvP and they're one-on-one, you'll survive a little bit, but you'll probably go down. So, like I said, it's all about sustain, making sure that you're not going down too quickly in there, and so you can stay in there and have a lot of fun. And then we went over the CP. Am I forgetting anything, chat? Anything I'm forgetting with this? I think we're doing good. Yeah. We've got the different version of Berry, all that stuff. So, all right. So I hope this helps. A wonderful update to our PvP build for Frostygon. So if you've been working on Frostygon, you got them all up and going with that. Now you've got a PvP build to go with it. I think you'll have a lot of fun during the White Strikes event in there. So go in there. So please subscribe, ding the bell, do all things. Leave the comment below. Let me know if you actually build this and take it into the White Strikes and how you fared. So I'm really interested. So it's always fun. PvP is such a wonderful event. A lot of great things going on in there. And pretty solid, everybody. Pretty solid. I do pretty good and everything. I love it. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And go out there and have some fun in PvP land. All right? I'll talk to you later. Bye.